Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
My daughter's boyfriend is a pathological liar and probably the biggest con artist I have ever met.
He's been called an abuser.
He didn't throw me through a window. He hit the window.
That's what you told me
No,
when you
it's
called
not.
crying.
And a con artist.
He also scammed a friend out of $70,000.
That's not true at all.
Today, he faces off with Dr. Phil.
Did you fake a kidnapping?
God, no. I was held against my will.
So why were you arrested at the end of it?
Did he fake having cancer?
You had a crowdfunding site?
No, that's
wait
not
a minute. You tried to con me, and we're done, my friend. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Julianne says her daughter Mariah's boyfriend Leighton is a smooth talker who lies his way through life. She claims he's faked having cancer, lied about being kidnapped, and even convinced a disabled friend to give him $70,000 for a business that he never opened. Now, Julianne says Leighton is a con artist who has taken her once sweet daughter and absolutely ruined her life. Take a look.
My daughter's boyfriend, Leighton, is a pathological liar and probably the biggest con artist I have ever met. Leighton started a GoFundMe page saying that he has cancer. He doesn't have cancer. He managed to raise $1,200 before I called it in and it was shut down. He also scammed a friend who is mentally disabled out of $70,000. Leighton told the friend that he wanted the money signed over to him so they could start a tattoo shop together, and it never happened, and the money's gone. Leighton told a story that he had been kidnapped and kept in a room for several days and that they were throwing needles with meth in them at him. Leighton claimed to be the victim of the kidnapping, however, he was the one who was arrested. They found 2 syringes with meth, $16,000, and a gun. I don't think it would be a great idea for you and Leighton to be together.
Well, that's your personal opinion. I don't think you and Dad are a good couple either.
I believe that Leighton got Mariah addicted to heroin. They started out using opiates together, then they started using heroin. Leighton shoots her up, she doesn't know how. Leighton has been charged with probably 10 crimes: domestic abuse, destruction of property, assault, and then the current charges, the gun, money, and meth. In October, he gave Mariah a black eye and was in jail for over 30 days for domestic abuse. I believe that that violence is becoming so bad and happening more often. I'm afraid that Leighton's gonna kill her.
Well, Julianne, what's your goal today? What do you hope we do here?
I hope that you can convince Mariah and Leighton that they have the most unhealthy relationship. It's getting worse and worse. They say they love each other and they're best friends, and then 2 hours later they're physically abusive to each other, and it all seems to revolve around drugs, and they also have mental health issues that I don't know how to handle.
Do you think you're pushing her towards him by telling her not to be with him? Because she's obviously rebellious to authority, right?
Absolutely.
So if you step in and say, don't, is she going to say yes, 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 just to defy you?
Sometimes, but then she, in the middle of the night, on a very frequent basis, says, "Mom, come and get me, help me move home. This is terrible. You were right. I'll never go back again." And I say, "Mariah, if we let you move home, you cannot go back again." 3 days later, she is. And she's 24, so I don't feel like I can stop her from going back.
Do you think he has some control over her?
I think they both have control over each other in a very sick way.
And what is it?
Drugs, mental health problems. They've both been through a lot of trauma, and they find that their stories are somewhat the same, and that's how they bonded, I guess.
Are they in love with each other in some sick way? Do they
In a
think
very
that?
sick way. They both love each other.
What do you mean when you say he's a con man? You say he's a pathological liar and a con man. What do you mean by that?
I have caught him in so many lies.
For example?
One time they couldn't pay rent, and he said the ceiling fell in on him while he was sitting on the toilet, and that way the landlord would have had to pay. He talked the landlord into paying the rent because of that happening. He went to the hospital because he was so hurt from the ceiling falling in on him that he was able to get opiates, which that's their drug of choice.
Right.
And so he's got a silver tongue. He's very convincing. He's convinced me sometimes, even after he's done horrific things to her.
He's conned you?
Yeah.
Did you
like I
believe
let
it
him
when
back in our life.
Did you believe it when he said he was kidnapped?
No, I don't believe that story.
But he did say he was kidnapped.
Absolutely.
And held captive.
Yeah, this is currently a pending charge.
If he was kidnapped, why did they get there and arrest him? They don't typically arrest the kidnappee,
No.
They arrest the kidnapper.
Well, because they're all in on it together against him. That's what he says. Because his brother works in law enforcement there, and everybody's against him. Everybody's against all of them.
Well, they found him with a large amount of cash, right?
Uh-huh.
When they kidnapped.
Which was probably left over from when he conned the guy out of the $70,000, I'm guessing.
Well, wouldn't the kidnappers take the cash?
You would think. Well, the money was at the place where he said he was kidnapped.
Right.
But now the police have it.
Now, he set up a GoFundMe page, right? Mm-hmm. And what was that for?
He said it was for cancer. He said he had lymphoma specifically.
Did he?
No.
Did you make a donation?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because that way I could see who was donating to his page, and otherwise I couldn't see it.
And so that allowed you to have access to the page. What did you see when you got in there?
The updates that he gave to tell people, oh, I only need this much more, and I'm going to be able to start treatment. And then he would post updates on his Facebook page thanking people, and that if everything goes well, I'll be able to start my treatment within next week. And he wasn't going to treatment. He wasn't receiving any treatment. He didn't have lymphoma.
Okay. Well, here's an excerpt from Layton's social media page on October 27, 2016. He says, found out Mariah was doing this for me today. Thank you to all who has donated. So I guess it's out. I'm sick. Click here to support Help Save a Life by Layton. So he said Mariah set it up for him, and then he just found out that what a loving act, she set this up for him. So he's saying she was in on it as well.
Yeah, she didn't know the password. That's not how Mariah would write. I could tell that was Layton's
Well,
language.
if he had cancer, why take it down?
I reported it that he didn't have cancer.
But if he did, why take it down?
They took it down because they apparently found it fraudulent.
So how did they find out it was fraudulent?
I called in and I told them that he's not seeking treatment, that the money was being used for other things, for drugs, for rent, for I don't know what. And
so he
I
doesn't
guess
much
they
like you, I
investigated.
suppose.
No, he pretty much hates me.
Yeah, well, we'll find out about that, because next we're going to meet Julianne's daughter and find out why she says her mother is the liar, her mother is the hypocrite. Not her, not Layton, but Mom here is a liar and a hypocrite. We're going to find out why she says that and see if it passes the test. We'll be right back.
My daughter and Layton's relationship is very toxic. I think that Mariah's not blameless in this. They are both physically abusive to each other. When they get into fights, I believe Mariah instigates it. The violence is out of control. They shouldn't be together.
Well, Julianne says her relationship with her daughter Mariah has been strained since she started dating this boyfriend Layton 4 years ago. Take a look.
My relationship with my mom is very volatile. One day we're getting along, and the next day it's just war.
What the
ever? We're at each other's throats. There have been times that me and my mom have gotten into physical fights. Recently, my mom's put her hand up in my face and just kind of shoved me. It took everything in me not to hit her back, but I knew if I did and the police came, it would be me that would go to jail and not her. Layton and I have been together for 4 years, on and off now. It's caused a lot of fighting.
Mariah, why can't we talk about it?
Because it's not your choice to tell me who I can and can't be with.
That's exactly right.
All you care about is power. You're so controlling and manipulative. I can't take it. My mom likes to blame Leighton for pretty much everything that goes wrong. She blames Leighton for me being addicted to opiates. The first time I wanted to use a needle, I couldn't find my veins, and so Leighton helped me. My mom has threatened to be done with me if I chose to pursue a relationship with Leighton.
Okay, Mariah, assume for a second that your mother is totally out of this situation. Forgetting her, how's your life working for you?
We have a house.
Do you have rent for next week?
No, because we've been dealing with the show, and I haven't
Because
been
you
able.
both have jobs?
I'm not going to get into this with you. You know it. I'm so tired of fighting with you.
Well, talk to me. I asked you the question. She just interrupted. I'm asking you, how's your life working for you? Seriously.
I wouldn't say it's great, but I'm not dead.
Well, how?
I'm not starving. I have clothes.
Okay, so you're not dead or starving and you have clothes. Is that?
It's more than half the world.
Are you defensive about me asking you how your life's working for you when you say, hey, I'm not dead and I've got food and clothes? Are you really where you want to be at this point in your life?
No, but she's also given me money to move in there.
Well, I said
and then
forget
took it
about her.
back.
I said forget about her for a minute. I'm just asking you. I just bet you, hell, I don't know. She may be a totally meddlesome, overbearing, intrusive mother.
You know her too?
I just met you. I don't know. That may be true. I'm just asking, are you, I guess this is kind of a test I'm asking, is your life working for you or is it not?
It's not where I want to be, but I'd say it's working.
Okay. Are you a drug addict?
Yes.
Are you on heroin?
Not at the moment. Not heroin. Opiates, yes.
Okay, you use opiates regularly. Why do you use them?
Because when I can't make it to the methadone clinic, which my mom is paying for, if you don't take methadone, which is almost worse than heroin, which you can get at the methadone clinic, you get sick if you don't take it, and it's the worst feeling in the world.
Okay, so you're not being straight with me. When I said, how's your life working for you, you're using opiates to the point that if you don't get them, you get sick. So you have to have methadone to bridge it. And you're living from one fix to another, and you're telling me that that's okay.
I'm actually going to the methadone clinic, and when I can't make it there, then I will use opiates.
Okay, so.
But you've shot up Adderall since the methadone is not allowing you to get high from the opiates.
I don't want to be going to the methadone clinic every day. Things aren't where I want them to be, but they could always be worse.
But when you were growing up, this couldn't have been your dream.
No.
That can't have been what you were dreaming about in middle school, high school. That can't have been your goal.
Actually, in high school, I did just want to grow weed. That was I didn't want to go to college, and my mom didn't really push it.
Okay. So you don't want to have a straight conversation with me. You just want to be right in front of your mother. Is that it?
Absolutely not.
What if, I'm not just saying true, but just what if you're talking to somebody that could help you truly turn your life around and get what you want, and instead of seizing that moment, you're playing this game?
Maybe I don't know how to be honest with myself.
And I hate to see you squander an opportunity, because I'm really good at what I do, and I got resources you can't even imagine. But so we spent 10 minutes being right. Okay, you're right. Julianne says Mariah's boyfriend is turning her into a con artist and a liar. Well, we'll meet him next, see if he wants to be a right fighter as well after the break.
Mariah called me and told me that her car had got hit and run, but the truth was Leighton was driving it around and hit the back end of another car when he'd been drinking, and then tried to take off, hit another car, and they both left the scene, and it's a hit and run.
Julianne says her daughter Mariah's boyfriend Leighton is teaching her daughter to be a con artist and a liar. Leighton says Julianne likes to act like she's perfect and blames him for Mariah's behavior, but she is the one who created the monster.
Mariah's mom, Julianne, hated me from day one. She did everything she could to try to break us up. She belittles me, tells everybody I've done all these horrible things. Julianne said that I've shoved drugs down Mariah's throat, that I got her started on the drug scene. It's completely untrue. Mariah and I have gone at it before. Because of one incident, I got thrown in jail for 30 days. I just got out a couple weeks ago. Julianne loves to blow things out of proportion, likes to make it out that I just beat the out of her every day. That's not true at all. Mariah's mom is controlling and manipulative. She would ask me to confide in her. She would turn around and tell Mariah what I told her, putting her own spin on it to try to make me look bad. Mariah's mom has a tendency to act like her doesn't stink. She's the world's worst enabler. She turns a blind eye to everything Mariah does and reflects the blame onto other people, usually me. Mariah's mom's a hypocrite. She criticizes Mariah on the things she does, but in fact, she enabled her to do those things. Her mom pays for everything: insurance, phone, food, gas, everything. Mariah was introduced to drugs like marijuana through her parents. Mariah is an addict. If there's something that has addictive values, she'll pursue it. I'm not the source of Mariah's problems. Mariah's mom took huge part in creating this mess in the first place.
Okay, Leighton, you've been listening to everything that's been talked about so far, right?
Yes.
And you've been described in not so glowing terms.
Yes.
Did y'all have a fight this morning?
Yeah.
What was it about?
She didn't get her methadone when she woke up, and I'm short-tempered in the morning, so if you bark at me, I bark back. I think we just started rattling off at each other with all the stress and stuff.
So you're at the hotel this morning, and all this started around 10 after 6, and it started getting loud in y'all's room. So hotel security was called and told them that you were going to have to leave. Well, eventually y'all got in the car, and you recorded some of the argument, right? Let's listen to what happened then.
Leighton, you take everything for yourself.
I got up at the
No
morning
one
to make
believes
sure you had everything you needed
Then how come I have nothing I need?
because you freaked out like usual.
No, because you
I
called
asked
me a
you to-
bitch and hit me.
I'm sorry, where? Show me.
I just did, you piece of. Are you retarded?
Don't yell while there's somebody
You
trying.
guys, that driver is really, like, it's not easy driving with the sun right in your eyes. Please, Brian, please think about somebody else.
Maybe you should have told Leighton to think about someone else besides himself. Look how high he is. Look at his eyes.
Don't.
His eyes are going.
Baked out of my garden.
No, you're not baked. You're high on drugs, not marijuana. Baked is marijuana. How come I have nothing then? If you got up so damn early and did everything for me.
I got up, tried to get everything prepped, and you did your normal thing. It was drama. You
Leighton,
just
you're
scream and
so
cry because
It's because you steal everything.
I stole. Okay,
You
you're right.
steal everything from
You're
me.
right, Mariah, just like when we left and you took everything. You know, that's why I don't get sick, is because you take everything, which I should be thankful for.
It's because I'm on methadone and you're not.
Oh,
That's why I get sick.
I gotcha.
Who got the Opanas to begin with?
But you guys, you could have went and gotten methadone. That's the whole thing, and then you wouldn't have been sick.
She wants to get high.
Yeah, I do. If I'm gonna go to rehab, I want to get high one last time. And Leighton wouldn't let me because he wants it all to himself.
I've heard enough of that. So you were upset that he took the drugs before you had a chance.
That's how I felt.
So at the studio, Mariah and her mom got into an argument.
You tried to break my purse off of my body and take my wallet from me. So I threw the wallet at you.
She was going to tear up Leighton's
No,
ID so
you
he wouldn't have a
think
way
I was.
to
Did I
fly
say I was
anywhere
going to do that?
That's an assumption.
Yeah, it is an assumption.
Did you think it was going to happen, Leighton?
No, she gets mad and threatens things, but her bark's way worse than her bite.
Thank you.
Then Mariah gave the security guards some needles. And the stage then told Leighton he was going inside and had to go through security. So Leighton then threw a spoon in the trash. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's all of this stuff that we have here in this hazmat bag, these syringes and this spoon. So hence my question to you this morning, Mariah, how's your life working for you? You said, oh, fine, you know.
Pretty dramatic and pretty.
But I went through 5 minutes of you telling me how everything was pretty much fine. You had
Well,
clothes
she
and food.
likes to tell me that the rest of the world lives in poverty and that I have it well.
So you're coming to the Dr. Phil show and you're bringing needles and drug paraphernalia and fighting and running through security and throwing this stuff.
I didn't
I mean, come
throw
on.
a needle. I would never throw a needle.
Yeah.
Mariah, you are on such a downhill slide right now. Do you not realize that if you guys don't get help, you're gonna die?
Yes, we do realize that. That's why we're here.
Then why are you being so defensive to him?
I'm being defensive because I'm not going to let things get twisted out of proportion.
Julianne says Leighton is a manipulator who scammed a mentally disabled person out of 70 grand, not to mention that he faked cancer. We'll hear what Leighton has to say about those accusations after the break.
The first time that I met Leighton was Christmas 2013. Mariah called me hysterically from his tattoo shop. They had both been drinking, and Mariah said that Leighton threw her through the plate glass window. When I got there, she was bleeding, and I had to take her to the emergency room for stitches. I can't stand him. Leighton lies, and he beats up my daughter.
Well, Julianne says the first time she met her daughter's boyfriend, Leighton, it was after an incident that left her daughter, Mariah, bleeding and needing to go to the emergency room. But Leighton says Mariah pushes him to the point where he cannot control himself and claims Mariah has even physically attacked him. Obviously, it's volatile.
Yeah, when drugs and alcohol are involved, it gets pretty intense.
Which is constantly. It's just constant anymore.
Why do you have this resentment towards your mother?
Because she's a liar and a manipulator, and
What's she lying about?
she twists every story. He didn't throw me through a window. He hit
That's
the window.
what you told me
No,
when you
it's
called
not.
crying.
No, it's not.
Is she lying about you being a drug addict?
No.
Is she lying about you being in a domestically violent relationship with Leighton?
I'd say that's true, but it goes both ways.
Where'd you get this black eye?
From him.
So you may disagree about some of the details, but the material substance of what she's concerned about is genuine.
Yes, but just like everything else, I feel it is being blown out of proportion and lies.
Okay, well, let's put it back into proportion so I can deal with what really is. Do you need to be here talking to me?
Yes.
About?
My drug use, his drug use, both of our violence towards each other.
Mental health issues. She's been on and off probation since she's 12 years old. She's had 2 DWIs. She's had possession of drugs.
When did she
She's
start?
tricked
When
the
did she start?
probation officers.
When did she start doing marijuana?
When she was probably
When you started giving it to her?
14. I didn't give it to her,
That's
but
a
I
lie.
condoned it. I didn't tell her it was evil. I thought it was better than drinking.
What the hell were you thinking?
I was really stupid. I had a husband that drank a lot on the weekends, and Mariah and I both agreed that drinking was terrible and that drinking causes violence and people's dying, and that she convinced me that marijuana was natural and an herb, and I thought, wow, it's way better than drinking. And she convinced, I said, Mariah, but
A 12-year-old convinced you of something?
Okay, you were 14.
I
And
was
your
12.
IQ, her verbal IQ is in the 150s. And so maybe she can convince me of stuff.
What is your job?
Anyway,
A disability
I was
determination
bad. I did the
examiner?
wrong thing.
No one should be able to convince you of something that isn't true. That's your job.
And I said, Mariah, this will lead to other drugs. I'm really worried about that. No, it won't, Mom. I would never put another chemical in my body. Weed is natural. And so honestly, I didn't think it was that terrible.
Did you go consult anybody? Did you talk to a physician, a pediatrician, your family doctor? Do you have a computer? Did you Google it? Or did you just decide stupidity was a virtue?
I really, really screwed up. and I tried to get her treatment 3 times beforehand.
Then why are you
and
defending it? You either drink or do drugs on the weekend when you're 12.
14, but
14, 13, 15, whatever, pick a number.
I messed up bad. I admit it.
Then can I say that? I messed up bad. Whoops.
I've caused things to be way worse when I thought I was making them better. And I feel like you're my only hope because you seem to lay it out to people and tell them what idiots they are and what stupid decisions that they've made. And I know that.
Well, you know why I'm that way? Because I feel like if people come all the way here, they at least deserve for me to tell them the truth as I see it. For you to allow a child whose brain is pruning itself at the time, to start doing marijuana is an absolute higher form of insanity. Now, Leighton says Julianne even had to bribe Mariah to come on the show. But what about Leighton's list of lies? We have to be completely honest before we can move forward. And I don't see anybody here that has any degree of readiness whatsoever to move in the right direction. We'll be right back.
Mariah is very verbally abusive. When Mariah's in angry mode, there is no controlling her. Mariah likes to call me a piece of shit. He knows that's my trigger. Mariah likes to threaten to call the police and tell them ridiculous things, obscene things. Mariah can bring me to my boiling point.
I said before the break that we were dealing with a question of readiness. You know, I believe that people have stages of readiness for change. Number one is they're compelled by authority to change. 2 is when they comply to escape criticism. Stage 3 is when they're intellectually aware. They know intellectually that they need to make a change, but they don't really feel it. Their heart's not in it. And then stage 4 is when they are mentally, emotionally, self-motivated by change. That's when people are truly ready. That's when they say, I will not put up with this from myself for one more second, of one more minute, of one more hour of the rest of my life will I put up with this from myself. And when you come in here saying, oh yes, my life's fine, my mother's a bitch, but my life is fine, then I look through that like a plate glass window. I look at a bunch of right fighters up here wanting to justify and explain, and I see the chance of coming around to some new reality as zero. You come out here and you would lie when the truth would do better. I mean, come on. You say you had lymphoma? And you had a crowdfunding site? True or false?
No, that's not the. Well, okay.
Now, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Hold on. Before you say, you need to stop. Before you say anything, you need to really take a deep breath and think about what you're getting ready to say. Because if you're getting ready to split hairs with me, you're making a threshold decision. Because you don't want to waste 5 minutes of my life terminating our relationship because you tried to con me and we're done, my friend. Did you or did you not claim falsely to have a disease? That's a yes or no question. That's not an essay.
Yes.
Did you con a friend out of 70 grand to start a tattoo shop?
No.
Did you get $70,000 from him?
Yes.
And
where's the tattoo shop?
We got a bunch. Okay. It wasn't $70,000 first off.
Okay, don't play math
Part
with
of the
me.
money.
Don't play math with me.
It was.
Did you take this guy down for some money?
No, I got robbed, and there's proof. I'm going through court for it. The girl just got popped for it. She's facing life in prison.
Did you spend a ton of it on Mariah and drugs?
Yeah, I spent a lot of money.
You said it went in her arm.
Yeah, a lot of money went into drugs.
You got money from a friend that was disabled, and it went in her arm.
He's not disabled.
He's not. Yeah, I don't know who said he
did
was
the drugs,
disabled.
He did drugs with us.
You told me he was slow, Mariah.
Slow doesn't. I'm not a doctor.
I don't.
You guys, you're losing your
He was
opportunity.
a drug addict.
Oh, you have no idea.
I have the stages.
Mariah,
Did you falsely claim a ceiling fell in on you so you could get opiates?
Yes.
Did you fake a kidnapping?
No. God, no.
So you were kidnapped?
I was held against my will. I went there on my own will, and when they found out I had a large sum of money, they kept me there.
So why were you arrested at the end of it?
I went to the sheriff's, I ran into the sheriff's house. The door was unlocked. They arrested both of us because they had to sort out the amount of drugs, the amount of money, the guns.
You guys, doesn't this mean your life is like total hell? Like whose life
I
is
haven't
like
said it
that?
isn't.
It's
My life
insane.
sucks.
It is crazy.
Are you on dialysis?
No.
Did you say you were?
Yes, I did.
I think they have a lot of mental health issues too.
You think?
It's not just
I
drugs.
just got recently diagnosed,
That's
and I'm on
funny. Those are all
antipsychotics.
funny.
Yeah, it is funny. It is funny
Apparently.
because you think that you can get away with this. That's what's funny is you
Get away
think we're
with
that
what?
stupid.
Get away with what?
Get away with all of these ridiculous explanations and split hairs and challenge your mother on some insignificant detail that changes not one bit of the reality of where you are.
I don't want to fight about it, but I don't want to be lied about either.
Oh, yeah, okay. You have really high standards in your life, right?
I'm done lying.
Did your mother bribe you with a manicure to come to the show?
No.
Did you tell one of the APs you weren't going to come unless you got a spray tan?
No, I said I wanted to go tanning before I came.
Just ridiculous. We'll be right back. Well, I'm back with Julianne and her daughter Mariah and her friend Leighton. Mariah, what do you want? What do you want to do with your life going forward?
I want to be clean and I want to be sober because I know if I don't, I'll probably die.
So, what are you willing to do to get there?
Anything at this point. I literally said a few weeks prior to ever even knowing about this show that this is the one thing I would never do is go on TV and air my dirty laundry. And I feel if I was willing to do this, this is pretty much willing to do anything.
It's really hard for me to do that too. I feel like I've let the world know what an idiot I am. But I don't want to enable her anymore ever again. And I'll do whatever I need to do if she goes to treatment not to enable her anymore.
What do you want to do, Leighton?
I need a complete life change. I want to do whatever it takes to become the person I used to be instead of the person I am now.
So what person did you used to be?
I was clean and sober, owned a business, had a home. I was very family oriented. I was actually a really good guy. I used to volunteer. I don't know. I'd like that life back. It might have been more docile and boring, but it was nice. I had a sense of security and safety, and it didn't end with me dead or in prison or alone.
Well, at this point, you're a criminal.
I know.
You don't understand that, right?
I've been doing my best to fix. I really have.
And when you say, Mariah, when you say willing, what do you mean willing? Willing to do? What do you mean willing?
I will do whatever it takes to get help.
You realize it's not too late, right?
Sometimes I don't feel that way.
You've got so many things that you can and should do with your life, and you are so busy getting in your own way that if you will absolutely surrender to doing what you need to do, if you will absolutely decide to be stage 4 readiness, if you will stop taking this crap from yourself, Stop blaming your mother. Stop blaming the world. Stop blaming the cops. Stop blaming everybody else, and own where you are. Then there's no way in God's earth that you can fail. There's no way in God's earth that you can't star in your own life if you will just claim it. I know these things about people. You know you're betraying yourself. You know how much more capable you are than what you're doing. You know you have sold out.
I agree.
And I don't want you to kind of do this. I want you to do this, and I want you to knock it out of the park, and then I want you to pay it forward for a long time in the future. You hear what I'm saying to you? The clinical director and owner of New Method Wellness is Deanna Jordan, and she's joining us today. And New Method Wellness is a substance abuse treatment center located in San Juan Capistrano. And let me tell you, it provides an array of treatment programs, and it's catered to each client's needs with an emphasis on dual diagnosis, which means they deal with all the psychological aspects that underlie your addiction. Can you help this girl?
Mariah, 27 years ago, I was exactly like you, and it's been 27 years since I've had to take a drink or any drugs. I have the life way beyond my wildest dreams.
Tell me you will make this work one time right.
We'll take this opportunity and make this work.
For you, not for her, not for him, for you.
I can't stand living with myself anymore.
And Leighton, you're screwed up as Hogan's goat, buddy. I'm telling you, this is Dr. Kaligi right here. He's Dr. Mannion right next to him. Say hi. And Dr. Kaligi is with Creative Care Malibu, located on 25 acres overlooking the Pacific Ocean. It is a co-ed substance abuse and mental health treatment facility. And they work from detoxification of drugs and alcohol right through the pathology that has driven you to make asinine choices and decisions all of your life. Dr. Kaligi, Dr. Mannion, can you help this man?
For sure, for sure. As long as you're willing to take responsibility, as you've attempted to do here today, I think you're going to be on the right track.
I'm going to offer this to you, and I expect you to lean into this. And if I hear one word from these people about you playing games, we will kick your ass to the Malibu curb. Deal? Yeah, lean into this. Lean into it every step of the way. All right, fair enough. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to New Method Wellness and its clinical director and owner, Deanna Jordan, and to Creative Care Malibu and founder, Dr. Kaligi, and clinical director, Dr. Mannion. These people do great work. Their links are on my website. If you have problems in your family, people that you love, people you care about, that's the first place to look. They're handpicked by me. We'll see you next time.
Today on Dr. Phil, her son is handsome.
He's lost everything.
And homeless.
He's been living in snake-infested woods. He's been arrested.
Have you stolen from your family?
I never thought of it as robbing because I always planned on paying everything back.
He was making six figures.
You had a decent job, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now mom says his fiance...
Why'd you get fired?
Because I was with Tabitha.
...is ruining his life.
She called Tabitha a street rat, poor trash, alcoholic, drug addict.
It's an addictive type relationship.
We asked you for help.
You only asked me for money, honey.
Tabitha's been a really good guiding compass for me.
But she has guided you right into the forest. You're living in a tent. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. people say life is just kind of like a game, you know? Some people are handed a good deck, which, I know, such things like loving parents, good health, education, and money, while others are dealt a not-so-good deck with dysfunctional families, poverty, homelessness, and mental illness. Now, Brenda says her 27-year-old son, Chris, was dealt an amazing hand. He grew up in a beautiful house, took nice vacations, and had a great education, had loving parents who supported him. But now Brenda says her son has lost his $100,000 a year job and is now homeless, living in the woods in a tent. Take a look.
Chris was this tall, good-looking, well-dressed, well-spoken, well-educated young guy. Here's his graduation with the family. Such a nice-looking kid. He had a beautiful home and a car. This was his room. He wanted the room with the balcony. He loved to dress nice. He had tuxedos. I was very proud of him. We'd have a really close relationship. He had all that, and he lost it. This is what I pulled Chris out of the woods with. This is what's left of all of his lifelong possessions. And it's in a black plastic garbage bag. Everything we've done, this is where he's at. I cannot believe that he is okay and happy living the life he's living.
How did this affluent boy go from a silver spoon to a plastic spoon? Brenda says it's all because of one thing. What would you think? Yeah, a girl named Tabitha.
My son Christopher and his girlfriend Tabitha are in an addictive relationship. It's destroying their lives and they don't realize it. Christopher was in recovery from an addiction. Tabitha found him at the AA meeting, and ever since they've been together, he's been making one bad choice after the other, which has resulted in him losing his dream job. He's been arrested, he's been homeless, he's been living in snake-infested woods. He's lost everything, and we are estranged as a family. After he started hanging out with her, I went crazy on him. I said, "Are you that stupid to be in this relationship with this girl?" And then I went on to just rip her apart. I criticized how stupid she was, how she's uneducated, how she's missing teeth. She probably did meth. I was really brutal. It's unimaginable to me that we will have to go our entire life without Chris being part of our family. It's horrible. I would like Christopher to end this relationship with Tabitha immediately and get the help he needs.
Well, Chris says he just refuses to leave Tabitha's side, and that their love story, well, he says it's like Romeo and Juliet.
It was a complete surprise to have to live in the woods after growing up with such privilege. Tabitha, growing up on the streets, had a little more savvy.
Something I always tried to maintain is cleanliness, but it's kind of hard when you don't have a shower or a toilet or a mirror.
Tabitha has always been more of the guiding star. She's more of my guiding compass. My mother definitely believes that Tabitha is a lower class. She called Tabitha a street rat, low-down thug, poor trash, alcoholic, drug addict. My mother is extremely controlling in every aspect of my life. And if it wasn't her way, it wasn't the right way. If my mom were to successfully try to split Tabitha and I up, I would personally go nuts. I've had nightmares and stress and anxiety about my mom actually doing such a thing. Tabitha and I, we don't want to spend time apart. We love each other. We are each other's best friends. I would definitely describe my relationship with Tabitha as a Romeo and Juliet situation. I come from money and a really great family life, where she comes from quite the opposite. Lived on the streets her whole life, had to kind of take care of herself.
So this will be all right. We can actually have a nice fire here.
I would like to say to my mom, I wish that you would give Tabitha a real chance. She's an amazing human being, and she deserves your love too.
Okay. Wow. Romeo and Juliet, huh?
Absolutely.
I had no clue they thought they were Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, it's a tragedy.
You object to this whole thing.
300%.
Do you care at all what she thinks?
I mean, of course I care. She's my mom. But as far as breaking up with Tabitha, I don't
That's not fair. She's been a really good guiding compass for me.
Living in the woods, Chris? Homeless? Calling me from street corners? And this is the guiding compass of love.
First off, you're here for some help, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, first lesson, you got to pick your battles.
Okay.
Now, according to you, Brenda has called Tabitha a street rat, low class, trailer trash, white trash, low down trash. I mean, that's how she describes Juliet, the love of your life. Mm-hmm. And that's offensive to your sensibilities.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
she doesn't even know her, and yet she looked her up online and, you know, made her judgments right from there. And
she's your guiding, but you say, this is my guiding light in life. But she has guided you right into the forest. You're living in a tent in the forest.
It wasn't her. If anything, I mean, I can take the responsibility
Have
just
you
as
guided
much.
her into the forest? I mean, are you two bringing out the worst in each other?
No, if anything, I mean, we're just fighting to stay together. We're fighting to get back on our feet. I mean, yeah, we've done a lot of bad things in our past and things that are immature, and we both have known that. But we both are constantly making every day an effort to do better, to better ourselves and to better each other.
You say you're working.
I'm only part-time. So
why are you not working 60, 70 hours a week total somewhere? Why are you not working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, whatever?
It's extremely, well, first, most companies aren't offering, you need a vehicle, and we don't have a vehicle.
You had a vehicle.
I'm trying,
So why are you in the woods? I'm just trying to figure out why you're living in the woods. Why you're not, I mean, you have 2 young, able-bodied people. You can't get enough money together to get some entry-level apartment somewhere and live?
I mean, it's very difficult to get money for, deposit, utilities, the whole thing, to put it all down and then,
Why did you lose the job you had? You had a decent job, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why did you lose it?
In my opinion, I believe it was because my mom had talked to...
you say you lost it because...
How did you get that job?
You say you lost it because of Tabitha?
Yes, sir.
How did she cause you to lose the job?
Because when he came back to Florida to do the job after he was trained for 2 weeks by his employer, he decided to travel across the state in a company vehicle, and from there picks her up, brings her back. He's whining, dining, eating on a company charge card in a company paid hotel.
I never paid for her with that. That was not...
It was against your boss's
And why was it against my boss's requirement that I have... In any other job situation in the world.
Did you misappropriate
Never.
the resources?
Never. The only thing maybe they would is because I was with Tabitha, back with her, and the agreement was because when I first got the job and my mom wanted to
Did she interfere with your job and get you fired?
Well, yeah, she did. When I first was going to get the job, I was all set up to go and fly up there, up to New Jersey to start working, and everything kind of got, I don't know, canceled in a way when I finally...
Because I found out you stole from us again, and I was not expecting that. You stole from us again, and I couldn't have you back in the house, and I had to take you to a Salvation Army.
I wasn't back in your house. I was...
Because I took you to a Salvation Army.
And why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Because I couldn't have you in our house.
No, I think it was because you wanted me to suffer. You said it, too. You said to me, no, you haven't suffered enough. You're going to control my rock bottom?
I was, because I care about you. I really didn't want you to be in prison.
And I understand that you care, and I understand you're probably very hurt.
For you to hit that you could live through, but maybe wake up before you ended up with another arrest record. I don't want to visit you in prison.
Neither do I.
Well, that's the route you're on. Prison or dead.
My mother definitely believes that Tabitha's lower class because she drove by her house and she was horrified. Tabitha's family's house is a rundown kind of place. It's not very big, especially compared to my standards. There's a lot of insects, the wood is falling apart, roaches are everywhere, there's a leaky roof, there's tree branches everywhere. My mother made her assumptions about Tabitha way before meeting her.
Brenda says her 27-year-old son, Chris, is in a very dangerous relationship with a girl who she calls a street rat. Ever since her son met Tabitha, she says his life has gone downhill. Have you stolen from your family?
In the past, yes, I have, and I regret everything. And I will admit, I've had problems with
What have you stolen from your family?
I mean, I stole jewelry, I stole stuff out of the garage, like tools, instruments.
Cameras, laptops, videos.
That was all mine.
Brenda says Chris has stolen a lot from the family. Brenda's ring, which is a gift from her husband Phil. Brenda's grandmother's wedding ring, diamond earring, Zach's saxophone 3 times, his brother Zach 3 times, garage freezer, Phil's credit card, gold necklaces, bracelets, video games, Xbox, lacrosse stick, suitcase with grandmother's antiques, grandfather's watch, $300 or $400 emergency cash, power tools, power saw, $3,000 cash from brother. Yeah. If you're stealing this stuff from the family, aren't you the one that cut off the family? Because let me tell you, you start stealing that kind of stuff from me, you're burning the bridge, not me. It's burning from your end, not mine.
And I absolutely agree with that. And
then why are you saying she's the one that cut you off?
When I was calling across the state...
Will you let him answer my question, or do you want me to just step out and you do this? Because I think you guys can argue at home. I'm asking you a question. Yeah. Answer the question. You can bicker with her later.
No,
Don't you own the
responsibility? No, I do own the responsibility of my past actions.
Then why do you say she's the one that cut you off from everything?
Because she is continually, even though, I really am trying. I really realize that I made some really bad mistakes.
When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences.
Absolutely.
When you victimize your family and friends, you choose the consequences of severing those relationships.
And yes,
you don't blame her for that.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. But I'm not going to say I was 100% in the right mindset. I'm not going to say that, I wasn't. I wasn't thinking straight. I was immature.
But you don't rob people and then say, "Oh, you don't want me around anymore."
I never thought of it as robbing. And this is where it kind of gets a little weird because I always planned on paying everything back. I planned on going and getting, a better job. And it's delusional thinking. I understand that now, but that's why I'm saying I really regret everything I did, and it has landed me in the woods. It has landed me a horrible relationship with my family, and it is my fault. I agree with that.
But as long as you're sorry. And if you plan to pay it back, that's called a loan.
Okay, yes.
That's where you go to someone and say, "May I borrow $3,000?"
And
you didn't do that. No. You stole it.
Absolutely, and it was wrong. And I figured because it was my family, it wouldn't matter. I figured I can always pay it back. I figured it was mine anyway.
I told her one thing. Her first piece of advice is pick your battles. Your first piece of advice is stop being a punk-ass thief and blaming other people for the consequences.
I agree with that. I haven't stolen anything since then. Not one thing.
Okay.
Well, except for dining and dashing, which I'll admit. But that was different. But listen, I am very sorry for the things I've done. I'm not going to say that, I deserve leniency or anything like that, because it is extremely wrong. I'm just saying that we've been through a lot, and every day, we try and we just put one foot forward, and the only thing I can do is the best that I can for every day, and we're going to...
The best you can is not going into a restaurant, running up a $200 bar tab plus food, and then running out the door.
Yeah, I know that, but, at the same time,
What's the but?
The but is that we are homeless. We have no no future, no nothing, and we do have an alcohol issue, and we're working on these things. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I'm not. I'm far from it, and I'm just saying that I'm doing the best I can now. And through our relationship with Tabitha, through my relationship with her, she's actually made me grow up. She made me see.
Was she with you when you ripped off this restaurant?
She was, okay. But it wasn't really her. It wasn't really her choosing and knowing. It was definitely, she was just more following me.
So you were her guiding light in that.
In that situation, not a light.
When we come back, we're going to meet Chris's Juliet, Tabitha. She says just because she has a criminal record, it doesn't mean she won't make a good wife. We'll meet her when we come back.
Being homeless in the woods with Tabitha and our dog Zen was without a doubt the worst experience of my life. A lot of the homeless people, we can't go anywhere near them because they'll rob us. Who knows what they'll do in the night. I'm a germaphobe. I don't like being dirty. I don't like germs, and to be in the woods is extremely difficult for me. You can imagine waking up after a rainstorm in a hot, humid tent, mud everywhere, and you gotta use the bathroom.
We would shower in pools. Sometimes we would use a hose at the community park and just kind of rinse off.
We had to trek a quarter mile to try and find a safe place away from anybody else.
This is an example of what happens when you leave your home even for a second. Other homeless people will come and just take whatever they want. They took the poles out, they took, our tarp. They'll find you.
Tabitha and I, we need a place for support. We're constantly struggling.
There's a other homeless camp.
We could use some help.
Brenda would like to see his relationship with Tabitha end right now. But Tabitha says that's just not going to happen.
When I first met Chris, he was just absolutely amazing. Chris set me off my feet. I never thought he would pick me. After me and Chris started dating, we were never apart. When I first met Miss Brenda, she didn't want to connect with me. I feel like Mrs. Brenda is a little hoity-toity. She doesn't approve of us being together, and I think it's because of where I come from and how I grew up. My family doesn't come with a lot of money. I know his family does. Chris has kind of sheltered me on what she's said. He's told me a few things, but I know it would just affect the relationship for him to say things. I feel like Mrs. Brenda is brainwashed by society. I feel like she really needs some counseling. She's very strong, like a bulldog. She wants everything to go her way. After the first meeting with his mom, she ended up kicking him out for no apparent reason except for that his mom wasn't happy that he was dating me. I feel like she was just trying to be spiteful. Mrs. Brenda tried to separate us. She said, "Oh, what would you do if someone offered to give you help?" I said, "It depends, because your form of help is to try to tear me and Chris apart. We're in it for the long run and we're in it together. It's us against the world."
Well, Tabitha is joining us now, as well as Chris's stepfather, Phil. So I appreciate both of you being here. Tabitha, as you know, Brenda is not a fan. She thinks you're a negative influence in her son's life.
All of his mistakes were kind of before me, except for that last incident. And we've just honestly, like Chris been saying, we've been trying to step forward, and all of his stealing and stuff was before he even met me.
So in fact, you two met at an AA meeting, and you were working a 12-step program, and were pretty deep into that program at the time you two met, right?
Right.
So a lot of the stealing from the family, a lot of that water was under the bridge before you two ever connected. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we were still working. I mean, it wasn't under the bridge, nowhere near. I mean,
Well, because that's why he was in the program, was because he had made those bad decisions. And that's when we had met. And since he's been with me, I've gotten him to at least get a job. And sorry, it's not like a proper, high-class job, but at least he has a job.
A job is good, but a job living, I didn't know he was homeless
because it's a dead-end
again.
job that's not good enough?
It is a dead-end job. That's
So
not
what?
even it.
At least he's trying to do something for himself.
And he's living in the woods, dear.
Income levels aside, honesty, I think, is something that all four of us should have. Okay. And I have to say that I didn't feel, as we went through our relationship, and we started to be honest when we sat and had lunch twice, but we haven't been honest with each other, throughout even the time when we were going to pick you up. Tabitha texted Brenda and said, "Oh, he's all drunk," and then you texted back and said, "No, I'm not drunk. She is." So there's all these, there's all these honesty issues and pick your battles. I understand that too, but I've had a problem.
Well, honesty's a good battle to pick. I agree with you. That's a good battle to pick.
And I would like to say that I am so sorry. I betrayed your trust, and especially my father's too. I mean, he's been nothing but supportive and amazing, and I really am sorry.
If this isn't another addiction, I'm fine with it. But it just feels to me like it goes from one addiction to the next.
That's all we can't get through to them. That we really believe he's in another addictive relationship. You may as well call her Little Miss Heroin, and her mother and father call them Mr. and Mrs. Meth, and call her environment around her Roxy, Oxy, and Spice, because to me, he's just swapping one addiction for another. Not that you do that, not that your parents do, I'm just making an analogy. Yeah. I didn't say you used it. I was trying to make a point that he is in a very
spiteful.
No. I'm trying to show
you're
that
degrading actions and words.
I'm showing that he is in an addictive relationship. It's an addiction, love, not a love base that's healthy.
Okay, coming up, Brenda says she's worried Chris and Tabitha are trying to have a baby in order to get public housing.
Is learning how to be homeless and work the welfare system, which very odd to me that being on food stamps, yet Tabitha's got money for cigarettes. I haven't seen her without a cigarette in her face, constantly chain smoking. I'm like, how does that make sense? It makes me crazy.
Brenda is now worried that this homeless duo will become a trio. Take a look at this, then we'll talk, and I'll hear what you have to say.
Tabitha and I aren't using any type of birth control. We would very much like to have a child, so we're kind of leaving it up to God. If she becomes pregnant, we then actually do qualify for housing. So we would be in a better off situation if she was pregnant than if she wasn't. It would actually be a blessing all around if we had a kid. Tabitha said she wouldn't drink and, I'd be strict on the budget, never, touch another drug.
If Christopher and Tabitha think that by having a child and then qualifying for free housing and that this is going to be the launch of their wonderful happily ever after career, they are doing exactly what sick addicts do. Addicts use people. They are so misguided and delusional that I can't stand it. Tabitha should know that already. I mean, did she get what she needed in life? Well, let's do that again. Let's keep this cycle of stupidity going.
Now, you two are both smirking and rolling your eyes, and before we said this, I said that you were considering having a child, and you're going, no. Then we just played the tape where you're saying, yeah, we're just going to let God have his way. We're having unprotected sex. If we have a child, if that's God's will, we have a child, then that would be a blessing for everybody because we would be eligible for housing. I would never touch another drop. She would stop smoking, drinking. That would just fix everything.
I like how that was cut and put together because that's not how we said it.
If we end up having a kid, it would help.
Not even.
But not saying
even
that we're
I'm not even saying that.
Like we're
I'm saying
to be
how
on
is
from
that?
assistance long
How is that different than what we just played?
I'm saying that I'm in love and that we're in love and that we plan on having a full future together.
But let's have one so we can get housing?
No. See, that's where I say it kind of got cut together.
Whoa, no, cut together my ass. Let's just fast forward to right now. Are you having unprotected sex?
Mm-hmm.
That's not cut together. You're having unprotected sex, and you say, if we have a baby, then you said we would then be eligible for housing.
For us, that wouldn't be smart to have a kid. It's not. And we both understand and agree with that.
Then why are you having unprotected sex?
Because we want a family.
We're not.
So you do want to get pregnant?
Not immediately.
We're not.
I hear.
Then stop having unprotected sex immediately. Oh, come on. What are you rolling your eyes for? Do you not? What? Tell me, what is it I'm saying that's so outrageously stupid?
Is it not okay that we have unprotected sex? I know that we're in a bad situation and maybe it's not the best idea, but we do love each other.
Does that mean it's not a good idea to have unprotected sex? Yes, that's what I am saying. I like to give a voice to those that don't have it. And if I may speak for this unborn child, this child would not want to be born into a situation that is not stable.
I agree.
You don't want to have a child born with a job of pulling you together, pulling housing together, pulling any of those things together. That is irresponsible.
It is, but I think most people will also say that you can't plan those kind of things.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can take precautions for those things. Are you kidding me?
Okay, right.
Well, Brenda says when she found out about Tabitha, she did do a public arrest record search.
Before she met me, yeah.
In 08, scheme to defraud. 08, larceny, theft, guilty felony. 21609, contempt, larceny, theft. 32509, contempt, larceny, theft. 103009, violation of probation, grand theft. 22311, marijuana possession. Page 2.
Oh my God.
Narcotic equipment possession, 5511, burglary, unoccupied conveyance, unarmed, 5511, burglary of structure, conveyance unarmed without person inside, Jump forward 2 years, resisting officer with violence, narcotic equipment possession.
It's a shame that you constantly are looking at this and not seeing how sweet she is, not seeing how she takes care of me, how she
My heart
works.
breaks for Tabitha, okay? It really does.
That's the only reason why you tried to be nice to me? Because you pity me?
I try to be nice to you because my son thinks he's in a healthy love relationship, and
He
I know
loves
that
me. What's the problem with that?
The problem is he's not in a healthy place to be in a relationship, and it's an addictive type relationship. And this relationship is bringing you both down. I care about you too. You don't belong sleeping in the woods. Somebody ought to.
What do you think? I've worked my whole life to get out of that.
Somebody ought to have been telling you you deserve better too.
Oh, we got to take a break. When we come back, Chris and Tabitha have a dog that they call their son. I get that. Brenda says that dog is part of the reason they live in the woods, and she wants them to get rid of the dog. But we'll talk about that when we come back.
Zen is a rescue dog. I absolutely love Zen and kind of adopted him as my son. We put his needs first, always.
We love Zen very much, and we're not going to give him up.
For Chris to be so in love with their baby, as they call it, to the point that he would rather be in snake-infested woods than to give it to a humane society, it doesn't make any sense. If that dog were their baby, the state would take it away from them. Dr. Phil, the reason the dog is a problem is because when they were homeless, calling me, begging me for help on the other side of the state, I told them, go to a shelter. We can't. No shelters will take the dog. I'm like, okay, so then I guess you're choosing to live on a corner with your belongings while you're begging me for help. I mean, this has been going on and on and on. So you would rather live in the woods and be homeless. It's not even...
Then split up our family, yes.
The dog doesn't even deserve to live like that.
We asked you for help, and
you only
kinda
asked me for money, honey.
At this point, both of you have a history with drugs and alcohol, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Neither of you are clean and sober now.
Yeah.
We are.
I mean, we're working on it. I mean, I'm not saying no.
No, listen,
I mean,
I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to get some
smoke.
factual information.
Yeah.
Because if
I can't go.
Because I want to try and see ways that I might be able to help, and to do that, I need to know where you are. I can't help if I don't know where you are.
We go through like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of doing really good, not a drug, not a drink, and we end up following and going kind of, like maybe not making the best decision about like going out to eat and then spending a little too much money on that, on maybe on drinks and things. So it's extremely hard.
If you're self-medicating, you still have a problem with alcohol.
Yeah, no.
I think
so.
Sorry.
Good job. We're doing good.
Sorry. It's just like you are right. I believe we are self-medicating. It's hard because we live this area where almost like we have to live for today because we only have it, and it's like we're in the woods and we get rained on. We're looking for our food. We're trying to figure things out, and then we get you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have a drink to go to sleep to take that edge away. I mean, I'm sorry if you guys can't understand how it is to be living in the woods, trying to find how you're going to eat, how you're going to survive, and walking back and forth 5 miles to work, and that it's a lot. And yes, we have self-medicated. I'm not going to say that we haven't.
Don't tell me. This is y'all talking.
We're wasting our help time, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's get back to it.
Thank you.
So when you do fall off the wagon or folly or whatever you call it, alcohol, marijuana, pills, what is it?
It's usually just alcohol.
Okay, and when it's not alcohol, what would be the next thing?
I mean, we use
some
pot.
dope.
Yeah, I mean that goes with that goes with alcohol. But we'll do we've done cocaine and other drugs, but like I said, not recently, not within
Few months.
Well, not that long. We've done it a couple,
See,
Like
he
how
tries
long
to tell
since
the
you
truth.
done?
maybe it's a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
now. I mean, yeah.
So
Chris,
within the,
I'm sorry, I'll never say another thing.
can we agree that both of you would like to have a more stable living situation in terms of both safety and comfort.
Yes.
And your hope is that you would find some way to define this relationship in a healthy and constructive way. All right, coming up, Chris hasn't spoken to his younger brother Zach in 2 years. Zach has something to say to him when we come back then. Chris's younger brother Zach did not want to participate in today's show because he says, well, he just frankly doesn't want to see or speak to his brother right now. He did send a letter for me to read to Chris, and it reads as follows. Chris, I'm appalled at how you got to this point in your life. Even throughout the pain and heartbreak you caused our parents, you had a family that was willing to push through and endure in hopes that you could turn your life around. It blows my mind that they still haven't given up on you, and as a result, got you this chance to fix your life with the Dr. Phil Show. If you don't find a way to work towards a solution for your life now, I doubt you ever will. And that is what makes me angry and sad. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for the two parents that continue to love and support you unconditionally, even when the reasons to do so ran out. Zach. Now, I'm a parent. Robin and I have 2 boys. One about the age of yours here, and both of our boys are over 18, so we've recognized quite some time ago, as you have yet to accept, is that when they get to a certain age, you become an influencer, not a controller. Your idea of finesse is to get a bigger hammer. You just hammer, 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 hammer. And you couldn't do more to cement this relationship together if you tried. Because there's just that part of young people that when you make something unattainable, it just gets on the list of you just can't have that. They just gotta have that, you know? You're not going to break these two up. That's not gonna happen. I'm a realist, I'm just telling you. If you think there's something you're gonna say to him or to her that they're gonna go say, you know what, they're right, we need to not see each other anymore. So thanks so much. You take the tent, I'll take the poles, and we'll just... It's just not... I'm just telling you the truth. I know that's not what you want to hear me tell you.
It's okay. I don't know what to do.
But that's just simply not in the cards. That's not going to happen. And you may care whether they're together or not. I don't care whether they're together or not. What I care is if each of them are healthy and happy and moving forward in life. That's what I care about. Sit with that for a second, okay? Hold on to that thought. Both of you, in my opinion, are active addicts, and you've got a problem with drugs and alcohol that needs to be dealt with. I'm willing to help both of you with that to get you cleaned up, not in an effort to break you up, but in an effort to clean you up. You've not had much opportunity to get a leg up education-wise. I'm willing to help you in terms of getting your GED, to get that done and get that behind you. I've also spoken with Manatee Technical College in your hometown, and they're offering to waive all tuition for you to go through a GED preparation program. And they're offering to pay for the GED test and get all of that done for you so you don't have any expense to do for that. And then that makes you eligible to continue your education if you want to do that. And I'm going to have our resource director sit down and talk to you two about making a serious commitment to going in to a rehab program. There is a place in South Padre Island called Hannah's House where you can get yourself on the right path. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
Consider that? All right, I want to thank all of my guests, and a special thanks to Robert Park and Origins Behavioral Health Care. I wanted to give a shout out to all those people out there who have been on my new 2020 diet. We are so excited to hear all of your success stories coming in from the new book, and you can share your own 2020 diet success on social media using hashtag Dr.phil 2020 diet, and we might just select you to come on the show and tell your story. And the 2020 diet app that I created helps you track your meals and exercise. Plus, I have to say there are some great recipes on the app, so you never really feel like you're on a diet, and I'm going to make it easy for you. The 2020 diet can be found anywhere books are sold, and if you want to download your own 2020 app, you can go to iTunes and Google Play. Thanks for being here today. So long. We're going to talk to you backstage, all right? Talk to you backstage. Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. See y'all. Bye-bye. See y'all.
Today on Dr. Phil, her daughter hasn't spoken to her in years.
The reason, she said, was because I hung up on her.
Because you hung up on her?
Now,
she is ready to talk to her mother after 7 years of silence.
the true reasons come out.
You abused me.
Did you beat this child?
No, I remember pulling her hair.
There's a big difference between I snagged her hair versus I pounded on her till she has hearing loss. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phil.
While researching today's show, we found a Facebook account belonging to my guest Peggy's dog. The dog named Princess Satori posted the following, quote, I tried to friend Jen, but apparently I'm blocked. Who blocks a dog? Close quotes. Then Peggy, the dog's owner, commented as herself with 2 simple words, a bitch. So who is Peggy talking about? Well, she's actually talking about her own daughter, Jen. Peggy says she hasn't spoken to Jen in 7 years. She says she has no idea why, not a clue. She says the last time they spoke was when they got into a disagreement on the phone. Peggy says she can't even remember what the fight was about. Take a look.
My daughter Jennifer has refused to talk to me for 7 years. She says I hung up on her and that's why she hasn't talked to me. What happened was we were on the phone and there was a disagreement for something, I don't know what, and I said, whatever, bye, and I hung up. Now my daughter won't talk to me. In the past 7 years, I think I've reached out to her. I feel like I might have called and left some messages on her phone that weren't returned, but I can't say that for sure. I've seen Jennifer maybe 3 or 4 times. When I see Jennifer at family gatherings, it is awkward, and usually we don't speak. I feel intimidated by her. I feel resentment toward Jennifer. I think my granddaughter Kaylee's been influenced by what Jen said. And I don't know my grandson. He's 7 years old, and this has been going on for 7 years. I don't think I deserve this kind of treatment. I think Jennifer's being selfish and childish. Maybe she doesn't want me in her life anymore. Not having Jennifer in my life, I would feel sad and hurt and lonely. She's the only one of my 3 children that are within driving distance. And I have no other family here, so I'm all alone. It's not my place to go to Jennifer. She should come apologize to me.
Okay, now, I'm a parent. I have 2 children, you have 3. And my first reaction is when I looked at it was as a parent, I can't imagine not speaking to either of my children for 7 years, and I certainly can't imagine not speaking to one of them for 7 years and having no clue as to why. You have to help me understand that. How can you not know what the problem is?
She hasn't given me a reason. The reason, she said, was because I hung up on her.
You hang up on her, so okay, 7 years, you are exiled for 7 years because you hung up on her?
Right. I think she just wanted to be angry, and that was the excuse that she had.
So you're puzzled.
Yes.
You want this puzzle solved.
I want it to stop.
Because, listen, there are lots of families out there. There are lots of parents with adult children who have issues, and they're watching this saying, okay, I got a pad out. I want to figure out what's he going to tell her because I've got issues. I want to know, how do we close the gap here? How do we solve these issues? So have you tried? Have you done? I mean, you're the parent here. Parents never quit parenting. I don't care how old your kids get. If you're 70 and they're 50, you're 80, they're 60, whatever, you always are the parent. But you think you are owed the apology.
If not an apology, at least an explanation.
She's caused you pain. Well, you said you want an apology because she's caused you pain.
Right.
She should apologize for the pain she's caused you. She's cut you off. You have a grandson that's a mystery, right?
I really don't even know him. He's 7 years old, and
Wow.
this has been going on for 7 years.
And you're just on the outside looking in?
Yes.
With no clue?
Yes, sir.
Well, Peggy's daughter, Jen, is here. Now, they've not talked in 7 years, and she is ready to talk to her mother. After 7 years of silence, it's going to happen right here today. Take a look.
I stopped talking to my mom 7 years ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made. The reason I cut my mom off was because when my son was 8 days old, she called me and was upset because I had not informed her that my sister was coming to town to meet my son. I was annoyed by her anger towards me, and she hung up on me. The next day, she wrote me an email asking me if I was mad at her for something. And so I responded. I sat down and I wrote her what I call the 30 years of anger letter that outlined everything that I had been upset about in my childhood up until that point, and then I asked her to please respect me and not contact me. When I hit send, I was petrified. Then I felt relieved. My mom did not respond to my letter. My mom's lack of respect is what ultimately caused me to cut off my relationship with her. My mother is not a mother to me, she's just a person. I don't love my mom. If I never talked to my mom again, I would be okay with that.
Well, Jen is here, as I said, so Jen, come on out. Jen, Dr. Phil, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You would? I'm up. That's a climb. You've not spoken to your mother in 7 years.
Correct.
I've been talking to her for just a few minutes. We've just met. She's told us before today and reiterated to me today that she feels like and is here because you owe her an apology.
I don't owe you an apology. You owe me an apology.
For what?
Really. You owe me an apology for neglecting me, for not being a mother, robbing me of my childhood.
When did I neglect you?
Well, she said, we catch up here because I'm a little behind the curve. Because in talking to your mother, she says you guys were talking on the phone 7 years ago.
Correct.
She doesn't even remember what the disagreement was about, and that somebody hung up on somebody else. Who hung up on who? Did you hang up?
She says I hung up on her.
You say she hung up on you.
Yeah.
And that because of that, that this whole thing has come tumbling down. You haven't spoken to her in 7 years because she hung up on you, and there's no, and she's has no clue of any problem other than the fact she hung up on you that day.
Yeah, I think she's in denial. 31 years of denial. You hung up on me that day, and that was the last time I wanted to talk to you because I had 31 years of anger.
Well, if there's more to that, then why did Jen cut her mom off? She says that, you know, I got 31 years of reasons to stop talking to my mother. We're going to find out what those are after the break.
My mom has never apologized in a way that I feel was genuine. I know that forgiveness is for me and not for my mom, but I don't know how to do that without saying it's okay.
My ultimate goal is to forgive Jennifer for the pain she's caused me. I can't remember that I've had an opportunity to apologize to Jen. I'm not sure I'd want to apologize to her, actually. Maybe because I feel like she owes me an apology.
Well, Peggy and her daughter haven't spoken to each other in 7 years. Peggy says other family members have told her that Jen stopped speaking to her because of the past, but Peggy says that's just ridiculous. She says she loved her kids and was a good mom. Jen, however, has a very different opinion of how all of that took place. Take a look at this.
My mom was the worst mom. My childhood was pretty horrible. My mom had me when she was 16. I lived with my grandma for the first 3 years of my life. When I lived with my mom, I was miserable. I did not like her, and I hated my life there. My mom was physically abusive. She would hit us, kick us, punch us. When I was about 10, she grabbed me by my hair and started punching me on my neck repeatedly with both fists. Everything went black and I was dizzy, and because of that incident, I have lifelong lasting effects. I have migraines almost daily. I have a bad back. I also have injuries consistent with whiplash, and I've also had some hearing loss in my right ear. My mom was also emotionally and mentally abusive. She made me feel really horrible as a person. She would tell me that I made her hate me, that I'm ugly. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel like I could do anything right. I just felt like I was a burden. When I was 11, my mom told me that she was going to put me in foster care, so I just decided to run away. I took a taxi to where I caught a Greyhound bus and got a ride to San Francisco. When I arrived in San Francisco, I called my dad and stepmom and asked them to come pick me up, and they did. Growing up, I got the brunt of the abuse until I moved out, and then it moved on to my sister. I don't think my mom knows what real love is. She says the words, "I love you." I don't think she even knows what that means. I didn't ask to be born to her. I didn't have a choice. My mom never should have been a mom.
Well, it sounds like a lot more going on than just hanging up on her.
Where did this foster home stuff come from? That is ridiculous.
No, you're ridiculous. And your denial is ridiculous.
You said you were hit to the point that you have hearing loss.
I do.
Is that true?
I remember
Did you beat this child?
No. I remember pulling her hair. She turned to run away. I grabbed her hair and pulled her back.
Now, there's a hell of a big difference between she was turning and I snagged her hair versus I pounded on her till she has hearing loss. If she's lying, then you need to say so. But if she's not, you need to own that. I don't know. You can go talk to a therapist for a year and you can get to this point, or I can just tell you now. And I'm just telling you now, you're either going to own this or this thing's going to fall apart. So your choice. I wasn't there. I don't know. The floor is yours.
I don't think she's lying. I don't think you're lying. I just don't think it's accurate.
You abused me. You can start by acknowledging that.
Did you beat this child?
I didn't beat her. I don't believe I beat her. I don't. If the things she say happened, I do not remember that.
Is
I
it
remember
possible
pulling her
that
hair.
you weren't present at the time because you were in an altered state of consciousness?
You mean like I was so angry I kind of blacked out?
Take a look at this.
My mom put her men and her drugs ahead of the kids. There was never a time where the boyfriends and the drugs did not take a priority. Between the ages of 9 to 14, my mom had so many boyfriends. I would say probably about 10 to 15. It was a revolving door, and I thought she was a slut. My mom is a drug addict. From a very young age, I've been aware that my mom was a drug user. I knew it from probably as young as 4. In my earlier years, I believe my mom was only smoking pot, but my mom started doing meth in my early teenage years. I knew exactly where the meth was, in my mom's bedroom. My mom was also selling drugs. There was one time when she asked me to come to her house for the weekend to help her do her errands because she had had knee surgery and couldn't drive. And I didn't realize at the time, but looking back, what happened was we went and picked up drugs, and then we dropped off the drugs. She wasn't able to fool me, even though she thought she was. Since I've not talked to my mom in 7 years, I cannot say for sure that she is still using, but I've heard that my mom is abusing her prescription drugs and drinking. So when she says she's a recovered addict, she is not.
That's what I mean.
I did
Were
drugs.
you high? Were you in an altered state of consciousness? Do you not know? Is it possible that you're not lying or in denial? Is it possible that you may have been high at the time?
It's a possibility.
And that doesn't mean that we're ridiculous because you don't remember.
I said what you said was ridiculous. I didn't say you're ridiculous.
You know, this is why we don't have a relationship. You wanted answers? This is why.
What? Because I don't agree with you?
No, because of the way you talk to me, lack of respect, and because you're a mean person. And until you can acknowledge what you've done, I'm not moving forward with you. I'm not.
Well, Mom may not remember too much, but we do have another witness from the past who is here today. We're talking about Jen's sister, Becky. We're going to add her to the conversation when we come back, and maybe we can piece this puzzle together. We'll be right back.
One time, when I was about 8 years old, I remember being woken up by some sounds. I pulled the curtain back to see my mom outside. She was wearing a hot pink sweatshirt, and she was taking off the screen off of her bedroom window. And I went back to sleep because I was not concerned. A short while later, my mom came in and woke my sister and I up and told us that somebody had broken into the house and raped her and that we needed to go to the police station. I asked her, why were you outside taking your screen off the window? And she said, I wasn't outside taking my screen off the window, but I know that she was outside. Another time, she said that she was carjacked and that she fought off both carjackers by doing karate chops on one and the other one ran away. I don't believe anything that she says.
Well, Peggy wrote to the show twice asking for help with her estranged daughter, Jen. Jen says she's had so much anger built up that after 30-plus years of abuse and drama, that she just had to cut her mother off. Peggy's younger daughter, Becky, says she's been able to let go of the past, and she wants her sister to do the same. Take a look at what she has to say.
It's been so long since Jen and my mom have spoken that it's just normal. I'm not losing any sleep over this. There have always been relationship issues in our family. I myself didn't speak to my mom for about 5 years. I moved out of the house when I was about 16 years old and didn't talk to her again until I was about 21. Our relationship was really strained at that time. I know that she was using drugs. It definitely wasn't the only thing that happened at that time. It was a hard time for everybody living in the house. It was just a hard time. I've definitely forgiven my mom for how our childhood went. Jen needs to learn to let things go so she can also move forward and not live so much in the past.
Is Jen remembering this correctly? Was there abuse in this home during these years?
There was abuse, yes.
Okay, were you in fact abused?
I was abused at times.
And you remember being abusive with Becky, correct?
I do. Started as discipline, and I do think that with Rebecca or Becky, it crossed the line.
So Becky here, who actually is on the side of wanting to put this behind and move on, is confirming what your other daughter is saying. I'm just curious what you say about that, because when we started out, it was just you and I here. It's like, I don't know. We were on the phone, and 7 years later, she's not talking to me, and who knows? Thin-skinned, I guess.
Well, Dr. Phil, I admit there was drug usage, and I regret it, and I wish I could change it, and I can't. After Jennifer grew up, she came back to live with me when she had her oldest daughter. They came to live with me, and everything was okay then. So I don't understand why after she grew up and everything was okay, and then all of a sudden it's not okay. Why is that?
I did come back and live with you for a few months. I was hoping that we could have an adult relationship.
And we did.
No, we did not. When Haley and I lived there, you were still the same person you were when I moved out. You weren't physically abusing me anymore, but you were still manipulating, you were mean, you were not loving to Haley. It was really awful. Do you remember sending me IMs when I was at work saying, why is it that the pots and pans can end up in the sink, but they can't get back into the drawer? When all I had done was done you a favor and did the dishes that were in the sink, and I left them out to dry. Or when I had lit incense earlier in the day and you came down and woke me up in the middle of the night yelling at me about it. Okay? These are just small examples of the kind of person that you are. Haley and I did not live with you for very long because you had not changed.
You didn't live with me for very long because you got your job and you got on your feet and you got an apartment.
We were not happy.
I'm sorry you weren't happy.
So why did you just tell Dr. Phil that we were living there and everything was fine? It was not fine.
Because the way I remember it, it was fine.
Right, because you're in denial. This is my reality. That's yours.
I can't be in denial of something that I don't remember.
Did you make a false rape claim?
No.
Did you make a false claim about the house being broken into and you being raped?
No.
I think she did make a false rape claim. She was outside taking the screen off of her bedroom window.
No, I wasn't. I stuck my head out the window and looked out there, but the screen was already off.
No, you were outside. You were outside and you were wearing a hot pink sweatshirt. I will never forget it. I asked you about it that day.
I was wearing that sweatshirt, yes.
Did you claim the house was broken into a second time and you had to climb on the roof to escape the neighbor?
Oh, I got up in the middle of the night. There was somebody in the house. I went out the window on the second floor onto the roof and tried to climb down the tree, and the tree broke and I broke my foot.
Were you naked?
I had a t-shirt on. But it was in the middle of the night. I didn't have time to get dressed before I went out.
Did you claim you were carjacked?
Yes.
Were you?
Yes. We all know that.
No, we don't all know that.
You weren't there.
I know. How do these many things happen to one person in their lifetime?
That was the karate chop. I was not there. I'm not saying you were or were not. I'm asking about these things because I'm looking at a pattern of things that she's talking about with regard to manipulative and kind of attention-seeking behavior, because it's her belief that you have faked rape claims and carjackings and that you've left voicemails about eating moldy food from a store to try to get money when you didn't actually do that.
What? Oh my God.
Tell me about this. Can I ask
This was in '06 that you left a voicemail saying you ate moldy tortillas and wanted to file a complaint against the store, and that you actually asked for your granddaughter's social security number. And
The tortillas were moldy. Haley and I believe Haley ate them with me, correctly? Correct?
That's what you said.
Yeah. Haley was at my house. We ate some tortillas, and then I found mold on it. I took them to the store, and they replaced them.
No. She told me on my voicemail, I told them that Haley and I got sick, but we didn't really. But that's what happens when you tell a white lie. Those were her words on my voicemail.
I don't remember it.
You just said that's something you did.
I said it sounds like something that I did, yes. And I'll accept that. I'll take responsibility for that.
I've been looking at Twitter that's been rolling up while we've been talking about this. Jordana 951 says, if you want your daughters to get over the past, then give them a way to close those doors and open new healthy ones. At Pretty Unlimited says, sometimes people don't admit and apologize. They'd rather save face than save their relationships. At Feral Woman says, sometimes people have moms that shouldn't have children. I did. You have to learn to fold them and move on. Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. Up next, Jen's daughter Haley says her grandma sent her 27 text messages in 2.5 weeks, but she never responded. We're going to find out why. Is this her choice? Is her mother programming her? Is she getting caught in a tug-of-war here with extended family, which is not good? We'll talk about that after the break. Till earlier today, Peggy and her daughter Jen hadn't spoken to each other in 7 years. Jen says her mother is a manipulator, a liar, and after 31 years of chaos, Jen says, well, she says she's just had enough. Peggy says since her daughter cut her off, she's been alienated from her family, including her granddaughter Haley. Now, Haley says it was her choice to stop talking to her grandmother and says she really doesn't miss her. Take a look.
I have not spoken to my grandmother in about 3 years. It was my decision to stop talking to her. I do not feel like I'm missing out on a relationship with my grandmother because even when she was in my life, we never had a strong bond. My mom and I have talked about what has happened to her as a child. It makes me very sad how my grandmother treated my mom growing up. If I could say anything to my grandmother, it would be that I do love her. I will always love her because she's my grandmother, but I would just ask her to get help so we could work on having a relationship together.
Well, Haley, thank you for joining us. You wanted to be part of this conversation, and I respected that and wanted you to be here. You haven't talked to your grandmother in quite some time.
Yes.
But she's here now. Is there anything you want to say to your granddaughter?
I love you so much. What do you want me to do?
I just want you to stop lying. I want you to admit to the things that you've done.
I don't have a problem admitting the things I've done. I know but there's never been a problem between us.
But there has been.
Like what? What's the problem?
I have memories from when I was 4 and I was living in your house, and on Christmas Day, you took my new presents away from me without any explanation whatsoever. I wasn't doing anything wrong, and you just left me there crying.
We were trying to watch a movie, and you kept walking in front of us. The adults couldn't see the movie, and I told you repeatedly to stop.
This is the first time that you've been with Haley in how long?
Thanksgiving of 2012.
And your first strategy is to start having an argument with her about who was right when she was 4.
Well,
and I'm just curious about what your goal is. You're barking at her, and then we bring out Haley, and you start barking at her, and I understand that you're under some attack here because she's saying that, you know, you beat her about the head and shoulders, and so she can't hear and see, and she has headaches, and that you ran drugs out of the house and men in the house, and she felt neglected and hurt, and she's not over that and has an open wound, and that you won't acknowledge it, and that hurts her, that you won't own it. And her sister says, come on, get over it. And she said, I can't. How do you get over it when she won't even own it? She won't acknowledge it.
Dr. Phil, I agree that I was not a very good mom. I accept that. I have apologized for it. I can't change it. I can only change how I am now. I can't go back and change the past.
But you're not changing how you are now. You are being very prickly.
Am I?
Yes.
How do I be different then? How can I change it?
You take the chip off your shoulder and you recognize that when this child was in a position that she couldn't speak up, you bullied and abused her. And now she's in a position that she can speak up, you are combative with her. Coming up, I'm going to tell Peggy what I do think needs to happen if this family is ever going to heal. We'll be right back.
I was definitely scared of my mom growing up, and I am still afraid of her today. I actually had a nightmare last night that she killed me after the show.
I think you have some very legitimate complaints here. I do. I think you have some very legitimate complaints. I think your mother made some really poor choices as a parent at the time. I give her huge credit for being here. I'm not saying it means you run and jump in her arms. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying this. Family is very, very important. Extended family is very, very important. And I think what you do is you start taking small steps. I want to help you do that. Now, you two live in different towns, and I'm even going to fix that for you. Everybody knows that Jay and I have developed this Doctor on Demand that we have. We do medical work with that, where you can go to our app and be in front of a board-certified doctor in a matter of minutes. We also do mental health services with that as well. And so you're able to do full-on therapy sessions with the therapist from your home, and you can do them from remote locations together on your smartphone or on your computer or whatever. I've already made arrangements for the two of you because you said you were willing to take a step at a time. So we contacted our clinical psychologist, Dr. Sunita Mehta, and she's actually joining us over the Doctor on Demand site right now. Dr. Mehta, are you there?
Yes, hello. Hi, Dr. Phil.
You've been listening to a lot of this, correct?
I have, yes.
And you see there's a lot of work to do because there is a lot of history here, but we do have two willing spirits here. And I'm really asking if you will work with these two. It'll be up to you whether you do this individual and then together or whatever, but if you will take these two under your very skilled wing and see if we can heal this family and bring them back together, because I truly believe their hearts are in the right place.
Definitely, definitely.
And you're willing to do this, right?
Yes.
You know, it was interesting, at the break, Peggy leaned over and said, is it at all possible for me to take a drug test while I'm here to prove that I am not on drugs and that I am clean and sober? And I said, absolutely, we do that all the time. And I will take her up on that offer, and we will do that immediately on break here, just so you know that she's made a good faith offer here, and we'll move forward because I want us to actually go forward and do this. Coming up, my next guest says she gets dirty looks whenever she parks in the handicap section, but she says she's legitimately handicapped. We'll find out more about her condition next. My next guest, Pam, has been living with rheumatoid arthritis for more than 15 years. At one point, she was virtually bedridden for 2 years. Yet Pam says people still don't understand how debilitating the condition is. Take a look.
This is not your grandma's bad knee. This is so much more than just arthritis. This is a disease people can't see. So if I park in a disabled parking space, I've had ugly comments. Hey, miss, you're not disabled. You can't park there. And I just want to say, if only you could walk in my body for 10 minutes. It affects my lungs, my kidneys, my joints. I can't be the mom that my kids want or deserve. I can't make plans and say, let's go to the ballpark. Let's go on vacation. RA is a living hell.
Well, Pam is here, and also joining us is our really good friend, Dr. Frida Lewis Hall, Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer. So welcome. Appreciate you guys. Doctor, explain to us exactly what rheumatoid arthritis is and its symptoms, because I fear so much, and I know this with some members of my own family, people that sometimes suffer from this and don't know it, and therefore they don't do what they need to do to stop or to treat it.
And it's important to do early diagnosis and early treatment in this disease, because it is a very serious disease, as Pam is telling us. So rheumatoid arthritis, or RA as we call it, is an autoimmune disease. That means our body's defense system essentially attacks normal, healthy tissue like the joints. And this inflammation that's caused by that can actually ultimately lead to joint destruction. It's also not just a joint disease, it's a systemic illness, so it affects other tissues like the heart, the lung, and sometimes the eyes. So, and a lot of people do get this confused with osteoarthritis, which is the most common form of arthritis. You called it, I think, your grandma's bum knee, right? And
yeah, not that that's anything to sneeze at.
Not at all, not at all. That too is a very serious disease. Right. It's different though. It is caused by wear and tear over time on the joints and often affects older people. Remember, RA is systemic, it's autoimmune, and it affects women 3 times more often than it does men. And it's got a wide array of symptoms. The joints tend to be swollen and warm and red and tender to the touch and very painful. Morning stiffness is characteristic and lasts for a very long time. In addition, you can have fever, fatigue, weight loss, and some people get nodules underneath the skin called rheumatoid nodules.
Right. And I think it's important for people to know this, because it's systemic, it does affect these other body parts and systems, so it can be a really life-threatening disease in terms of spreading. And have you had to deal with some of those issues?
Yes, I've gone to the hospital twice since diagnosis with pleurisy, which is affecting the lungs. You know, I have the joint swelling, I have the fatigue especially, and I have rheumatoid nodules in some areas.
Yeah, and I say I've had this in my family, and I've seen it, and I actually did my doctoral dissertation on the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis way back when we were still chiseling this out on stone tablets and stuff, and there's been huge strides have been made in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis in the last years.
Absolutely, and it is so very important to get an early diagnosis. So if you have any of these symptoms at any age, really urgently get to talk to someone about this. Speak with a rheumatologist, a specialist in this area, because you want to ensure an early diagnosis and a treatment plan that's really designed to be suited to you, because there are a wide range of options. And this is especially important because if you look at what can happen in RA, it is often a progressive disease. And any delays in diagnosis or treatment really increase the risk of longer-term destruction of the joints and disability.
Does this cycle with you? Do you have some times that are better than others for you?
Definitely. You know, I wake up, I'm very stiff in the mornings. It takes sometimes as long as 3 hours to work through that. And then I have to go throughout my day, and at the end of the day, it's just exhausting. It's hard to get through the day.
Yeah, but if you, and I think the key is if people, no matter what their age, if they get to it early, makes a huge difference, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think it's so important, and I say this to you, and I say it to people, I don't know why people struggle with this so much. If you have a disease, I don't care what it is, and certainly with something like arthritis, it's important to not put up a front, but to be real with family and friends and let them know so they can educate themselves about it. And it's important to understand that there are psychological components to this, because any chronic condition, it can really be frustrating. It can wear you down attitude-wise,
Yes,
right?
definitely. I mean, it affects me socially, you know, with friends, with family, and I find myself lying to everybody, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm not. I hide behind the smile.
Yeah, and then it starts to feel very lonely.
Definitely.
Then you can start to get depressed. Then you can start to feel isolated, and it just starts to snowball. And attitude is so important in complying with treatment regimen and doing all the things that are so important.
Of course, information is always key, and we have some information on gethealthystayhealthy.com for people who are suffering with rheumatoid arthritis to help get those conversations going with friends, family, and with medical professionals.
I thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. For more information on today's show, you can visit drphil.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Pam, thanks for talking about this. It really impacts a lot of people that have this. Thanks so much. Thanks. That's great.
Today, we're breaking down the press conference that rocked Korean entertainment. Kim Soo-hyun finally spoke out, and what he said left people stunned. But before we get into it, here's a quick recap if you're not caught up. The backstory. On February 16th, 2025, actress Kim Se-ron tragically took her own life. That date also happens to be Kim Soo-hyun's birthday. Shortly after, Se-ron's aunt came forward, claiming Se-ron had been in a relationship with Kim Soo-hyun when she was underage, and that his agency pressured her into staying silent. Her family later filed a lawsuit, saying the mental toll from it all led to her death. At the time, Kim Soo-hyun's agency denied everything. They called the rumors false and painted Se-ron as unstable. She even posted a picture of the two together. And still, people called her a liar. But now, the press conference bombshell. Kim Soo-hyun has completely changed his story. In his press conference, he admitted that he did date Kim Se-ron for a full year. He said he kept it a secret because he feared the backlash and didn't want his image or his projects to suffer. He didn't give exact dates, but said it was 5 years ago, that places it around 2019 or 2020. For reference, that's before Queen of Tears even started filming. He also claims she wasn't underage at the time, but again, no exact timeline, no receipts. And when a reporter asked when they first met, no answer. The press conference wasn't open to questions, just a prepared statement, no off-script moments. Clearly, lawyers were involved. Context: the DUI scandal. Now, let's rewind a bit. In 2022, Se-ron got into a DUI accident, crashed into a transformer, caused a neighborhood blackout. No injuries, but her career tanked. She was bullied online, dropped from projects, and disappeared from the spotlight. Kim Soo-hyun now says that's why he kept denying their relationship. He didn't want the drama to affect his work. And honestly, that might make sense in the brutal world of Korean celebrity culture. But here's the kicker. Even now, knowing what happened to her, he said he'd still deny it again. That's cold. The legal twist. And now, Kim Soo-hyun's team has filed a massive $11 billion lawsuit against her family and media outlets, claiming they used manipulated evidence. Meanwhile, the photos say Ron once posted, the one people dismissed, is now being used as part of the case. It's giving cover-up vibes. The bigger picture. Also worth noting, say Ron joined his agency, Gold Medalist, around the time they were dating. Why would an already established actress switch to a brand new agency? Many say it was a favor to Kim, to support him. But later, when she needed support herself, she was left to deal with lawsuits, debt, and public shame alone. So the question is, was the agency ever protecting her, or just him? Wrap up. There are too many red flags here, from the agency's silence to Kim's shifting narrative, to a young woman who cried out for help and was ignored. At the end of the day, this can't be brushed off as a celebrity scandal. It deserves a real investigation, not PR damage control. Because right now, there's a whole lot of pain and not enough accountability.